Happy Evaluate Your Life Day, and welcome back to the Sandlot Cast. Appropriately, we will be evaluating our lives. Here we are, halfway through the season. With me this week, I got Hillers. What's up, bud?
Hey, reflect on your choices, everyone. I know I have.
I've got Nick. What's going on?
Reflect on Your Life Day is a really apt day for the kind of day that I've had, for the kind of week I've had. So that's appropriate. I like it.
Is that podcast elaboratable?
Oh, I mean, I wasn't even thinking about podcast elaboratable, like you said, but
it's elaboratableness.
Okay, I got it. Elaboratableness isn't.
Yeah, how much elaboration can you put on this?
Say, when your team's gonna not put up 100 points and lose to the Wounded Ducks, you should really evaluate a lot more than just your life.
Time to look at your life and your choices and what brought you here.
I need to evaluate my life and the life of my future offspring that I might have. This is the kind of world I'm gonna be bringing them into.
Yeah, it was a tough week for the. We went 1-2 this week. Although one of us had to lose between Hillers and I guess. So, congrats, Hillers, on your victory.
Thank you. I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, my team chose to not score touchdowns this week, so makes it tough to win.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. Should let you know that I fully expected you to win that game, and I'm glad you didn't. But can't say it was because of anything I did, so much as what you.
The good news is I bet the equivalent of my mortgage that Ramondre Stevenson would score 25 plus points. So yeah, there we go.
Nice.
Good really?
Nope. No, I should have. I was saying it beforehand. I can't wait till Ramondre scores 25 this week. Sure enough, there he goes.
But you didn't believe it. I told you it was vindication time. I believe I put the notice out.
Yeah, the whole time you knew. I just got to wait till week 6 when Damian Harris goes down with an injury, and the Patriots have their third string quarterback in. Ready to play, and all they're going to do is run the ball. Like, this was what you knew was going to happen.
What did I say about the percolation period?
You knew. I didn't know that you had that kind of insight, so congrats on that.
Told you, it was the year of study.
Yeah, you're just partaking of the Zappy Hour.
I was reflecting, is what I was doing.
Happy Hour!
Yeah, Zappy Hour, there you go. Nick's a Zappy Hour patron.
I mean, every season brings its fun new catchphrases, right? But that's a real cracker. That's a good one.
So, yeah, halfway point. We're going to make it quick this week, but, evaluate your teams. We've got the trade deadline coming up, week 10. So, what's that, 3 weeks to start thinking about whether you're a contender or a builder. So, those of you out there, if you are new and don't feel like you're a contender, maybe look at dumping some players that you're probably not going to want to keep next year.
Week 8 is a hell of a fire sale week, typically, after divisional doubleheaders.
All the contenders out there, just stand pat. You're doing fine. No need to make any moves at all. Our big segment this week is going to be characters / the heroes, villains / whatever. Hillers and I went through. We spent a lot of time on this. A lot of forethought. A lot of just planning on how we want to do this.
Huge amount. Weeks
of planning on this, and we're basically saying if a team was a character of some kind. I chose the Game of Thrones universe to compare a team to every to Game of Thrones characters. If you haven't watched it, you should.
And I chose all the other universe.
So you're going to be a spoiler alert there, Meryl? Playing spoiler alert because if you haven't watched it, people are going to be really lost on it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I was saying that it did require quite a bit of assumed shared knowledge about the Game of Thrones universe, but not a spoiler alert because he doesn't say what happens to any of these people.
Meh.
Or things.
Meh.
Oh, okay. Well,
to be fair, the books came out 20 plus years ago, and the show was over like 2 years ago. So, at this point...
Expired!
Statute of limitations?
Statute of limitations, exactly.
Spoiler alert is expired.
So, Hiller's looking at the sheet. We're just going to go with, I guess, your order. We'll go with.
So, I'll name a character and then explain it.
You name a team and your character, and then we can alternate, but we're just going to go in the order that you have listed, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. All right. Mine are listed in no particular order. But topping off the list is the What is he? What is she a gazebo of now? Mediocrity or
I can't even
frustration?
pronounce the word.
Oh,
that she's a gazebo.
it's pronounced irascibility. It means.
What does that mean?
Now she's been that for like 3 years.
Yeah, but I mean, who's keeping track? It means like grumpiness or annoyability. If you're irascible, you're sort of a cantankerous character.
So why not
right?
just say that?
Well, those are all good words. Why don't you read a book? How about that?
I read Game of Thrones.
Did you?
Did you read it?
All of them.
Did you read it? Did you read it?
I listened.
Or did your ears read it?
I listened to it in the car. Quiz me, bro. What you got? What you got? Did you read it?
I did read them.
All right, what you got? Quiz me. Hit me.
That's
Like, quiz question number 1. How do you spell irascibility?
It's not in the book.
You don't know that.
I will take anyone on Game of Thrones trivia any day, anytime. Let's go.
Who publishes it?
That's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask who publishes it.
That's not Game of Thrones trivia. That's publication trivia.
Real quick side note: I had a teacher, and I had a college professor one time tell us, "I've read this book so many times that I can answer any questions, and if you can stump me, I'll give you an A for the rest of the semester." And I said, "Who wrote the article?" And he said, "Get out."
Nice.
That's pretty good.
He wasn't prepared to give up the credit.
Yeah.
Anyway, Daria and her team of irascibility, right? Her character I have selected is the HAL 9000. All right, because my characterization of this team is
Can I ask what the HAL 9000 is first?
It's from Space Odyssey 2000. It's the evil computer. It's open the pod bay doors, Hal.
And to be clear, you think more people have seen that than have seen Game of Thrones?
Yeah, but all of yours are Game of Thrones. I have some real notable characters in here. You know what I mean? And you know what? Maybe that was a very famous movie, and it's been out for decades. So maybe. Right? No. So the HAL 9000, because initially they think, oh, okay, this is real good. This is a real capable computer we've got on board here. But it's fine. Nothing's going wrong. And then things, it's the knowledge starts to creep in on the crew that, in fact, they do have real problems. They do have actually big super problems here. And a number of weapons that they had never even considered are now being deployed against them. And even then they think, it's okay, we've got this, it's fine. And then what's the HAL 9000 doing? It's reading their lips. It knows that they're coming for it, and it already has a plan to lock them into the vacuum of space, possibly forever. And I feel like that impending sense of dread and suspicion is how I feel about this team's rise to power. And so, Daria, your perfect fictional equivalent is HAL 9000.
Grumps and Snarks. My characterization, kind of along the same lines, is I have Gazebo and Daria as the Night King in Game of Thrones. And I have that because the Night King in Game of Thrones is this faraway, mythological, very old threat that nobody's had to worry about forever. And just like, yeah, whatever, sure, the Night King's going to come back and get us all. Sure thing. Yeah, you go ahead and do that. Meanwhile, we're going to do our thing over here. You just keep worrying about your Night King up there or whatever, right? That can maybe be better verbalized if you watch the last podcast when I said Daria's in for a couple of rough weeks, I think, based on what's happened to her team here. And she proceeded to score 160 and then 135 points, I think, the next 2 weeks.
Wasn't the case.
Wasn't the case. She resurrected a dragon and burned the fuck out of the wall to just blow right through it and come for everyone. Spoiler alert on that one. I guess you said spoiler alert first, but anyway.
No. Canceled. Expired.
Yeah. Canceled, exactly. So, Night King for Daria, a very old, very ancient, very great power that needs to be dealt with soon. Otherwise, we're in a lot of trouble.
She's no older than the rest of us.
Her power is the power she had back in the olden times.
Ancient forgotten powers. So, Nick, who had the better characterization of Daria's team and why?
Well, I think Hillers won that only because I have no clue what the name of the Night King was. That they had a name, so I give it to
The Night
because
King
Les
didn't have a
Liberty.
name. It was the Night King.
What did you? But you said it was.
Hey, don't argue with the referee, okay? The judgment has been handed down.
Your answer was what? So
The
you said
hell-
something.
The Night King. Gazebo is the Night King. That is the character. The Night King.
Okay. I thought you said something else. I thought you gave it a name right out the front. Like you said like something. We have to replay the tape. You said something like you gave it a name at the beginning, and I was like, I have no clue what that is, and you completely lost me after that. So
his name was Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Jeremy
Oh,
Baramy.
Plus one Hillers. Let's go to the next one.
Because you misheard me? Really?
No.
But, do you want plus two? Do you want plus two to Hillers?
Sure. Plus 2. I want plus 1,000. What does it even mean?
It's
all right.
Your grumpiness explains your loss. All right.
Inconvenience.
On to the next one. The barely an inconvenience.
Oh, wait, I go first on this one.
Yeah. Barely an inconvenience.
Barely an inconvenience. I have as barely inconvenience is kind of a kind of fun-loving, likes a bit of chaos. Doesn't understand why there's really rules, and they don't really matter that much anyway. Like, look, I'm just gonna say I should be the king, and let's vote on it. Or I'm just gonna go be the king. Like, why does this person get to be the king? I'm gonna go have a bunch of parties. It's gonna be fun, and the rules don't really apply. And that is Renly Baratheon from Game of Thrones, and it fails horribly for Renly because it turns out you do need some type of infrastructure, organization, something to make you the king. And really, Renly got killed by a ghost demon thing, so I guess it's not really applies. But
spawned from a woman's vagina.
Yeah, exactly. So watch out, Nick.
I mean, so were all of us. So, I mean,
yeah.
I guess technically,
just like all of us who kill you every year when you lose. Boom.
That's right.
The prophecy's already coming true.
So anyway, because Nick is somebody who's kind of life of the party, very fun-loving, really good at, honestly, but also a people person, right? And Renly was, and people loved Renly. And but when it comes to when the rubber meets the road, and things have to get done, and you got a kingdom you got to conquer or a league you have to win, it just hasn't happened yet, and it didn't happen for Renly. So that's why I have that.
Gotcha.
Rebuttal, Hillers?
My rebuttal, barely an inconvenience, truly is, in his heart of hearts, Skeletor from the He-Man universe.
As indicated by the picture on the video.
As opposed to Skeletor from the non-He-Man universe. Anyone who was
not
confused.
any other Skeletors you may be familiar with. Because there is a bit of fun in there, but it's really very much a week-to-week determination. And early on, in the season, this team gave off a terrifying visage that seemed nearly undefeatable, in some cases. And then as the points started to come up with, we're recognized like a growing, possibly world-conquering power coming out of the Maximum Beef. But then in other weeks, hilarious GIF-like failure. Right, and something that we can really all enjoy as things go somewhat awry, but still a strong team and guaranteed to be, a long-standing antagonist. Not going to get unseated, due to some strong positional matchups. This isn't going to be like a Bebop and Rocksteady situation where they start strong and then drop off forever. This is going to be a week-to-week determination of how scary it is. And that's why barely an inconvenience is perfectly Skeletor.
I just wanted to go over some Skeletor quotes just to pick up, see what he said. He has some amazing quotes.
Please do share.
Never mind what I said. Just do what I said. In a Skeletor voice.
That's
voice.
Oh, so that wasn't your voice.
Yeah. I am not nice, I am not kind, and I am not wonderful. And this is actually one of the more appropriate ones. Everything comes to he who waits, and I have waited so very long for this moment.
Truly, just exceptional writing.
It's good.
Hey, whatever.
It's good. Matches up perfectly.
It does.
Also, on the picture, by the way, we could have gone with just the cartoon Skeletor, but we chose to go with the live-action
Nice.
Dolph Lundgren He-Man movie Skeletor.
Because we're keeping it real. Yeah.
All right.
So Most accurate?
See, the thing is, like, I can relate to Skeletor. I can't relate to Renly Baratheon just because, like, Meryl says he's fun-loving, and I really like that description. So I'm going to give the point to Meryl, but I really don't know how accurate Meryl is. So, but Meryl flattered me with his description, so he wins.
He was the party boy. He was the F boy of the Game of Thrones universe.
Right. Yeah. Hitman next.
A bit of a himbo.
He's the one who knighted Brienne of Tarth. Also, let's not forget.
Okay.
Okay. Well, himbos do good things sometimes too. Hitman. All right. The perfect encapsulation of all that the Hitman is Hans Gruber off of Die Hard, and I'll tell you for why. Is because everyone knew that this was going to be an intimidating situation from the second it blew the doors in on a clearly unprepared Nakatomi Tower that was meatball salad, right? And it has since been sort of running the building, and it doesn't seem, even with some struggles, even as someone throws dynamite down the elevator shaft, maybe in this divisional doubleheader week, or takes out one of their longer-haired henchmen here and there. With season engine injuries, I think it's going to seem all but certain that they walk out of the building with the bearer bonds until, at the very last second in the playoffs, when they're most vulnerable, somebody drops them off the Nakatomi Tower of Victory.
The Night King. It's going to be the Night King / gazebo that's going to do it.
and to the cold hard pavement of defeat. And that is why this is a perfect parallel for none other than your boy Hans.
I'm actually going to go along those same lines, and I'm actually going to say Hitmen are the Walter Whites of the league. And you watch this team, and you watch them kind of come to power, but as you're watching it that things are going to go bad. You know that things can't end well for this character.
So good.
You know from the start that things are just going to go bad, yet you can't not watch it.
That's so good. You get my vote for that one. I did my best.
Yeah,
but
how many times were you talking with people about Breaking Bad, and everyone's talking, and the one thing everyone says like, this can only end one way. Like there's only one way this ends.
It's a modern Greek tragedy. Everyone knows it from the start.
Yeah,
it's got the whiff of doom on it.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I'm gonna go with you there, Nick. Yeah,
thank you.
Chiefs, not gonna happen. Chiefs. I feel like I have to specify Chiefs because some people might think when I say Chiefs, I mean TDJ, but I really mean not going to happen Chiefs.
That's why I always label it on the notes NGH Chiefs.
Right. You got to know what town they're from,
You're right. You're up first.
Oh, I'm up first here. Okay. So who did I have? Oh, yeah. So they're not going to happen Chiefs. New to the league this year. Had some minor history, some stuff going on last year when he drafted for JD. So there was some sniffs of history there, but really burst onto the scene this year, and came in with some power. Really, some really strong chutzpah, some really strong. We're coming in swinging. I'm coming in, you remember Oberyn Martell comes in saying, yeah, I don't think the Mountain would love to meet me as much as he thinks he would. Just all the talk in the world, ready to go. Just a really strong roster. Came out spending all kinds of money on running backs at the draft, just throwing that wad of cash around, right? Same thing. And drafted a pretty good team. Was very short-lived. Didn't last long in the story arc of the Song of Ice and Fire. And that's why, I went with Oberyn Martell. We're all also kind of rooting for the Chiefs. Like, none of us really dislike the Chiefs yet. We're all like, hey, good for you. You took this team, you turned it around. We're real happy for you. But, everyone rooted for Oberyn. Everybody loved Oberyn. He was great. And
if he'd have won, though, people would have turned on him. So you got that
maybe.
part right.
Yeah. Well, the Lannisters would have for sure. But,
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right, absolutely. So anyway, that would be my pick. Kind of just a microwave man of types, just going completely nuclear coming out of the gate, but I don't think has the staying power. So I'm going with Oberyn Martell.
Right. Well, it was close, but the truly perfect encapsulation of the not going to happen Chiefs is the Green Goblin off of Spider-Man, because this is a team with two different sides, right? And there's a side that seems very approachable and fine and not very threatening to you. But then occasionally, due to some absolutely terrifying weapons that they have built up with some actual strategic backing here, and not just off of keepers, have managed to become suddenly very damaging and very scary, and is no longer, your friend Norman, but in fact is now the Green Goblin and is swooping in on you. And if anyone is going to come in, in the last third of the season as the surprisingly dangerous true antagonist, particularly considering the last Spider-Man movie, this is one of the teams most primed to do that, and I think we'll all view him as someone we can take into our home and introduce to our aunt until suddenly he becomes psychotic and hacks Alfred Molina, and then we're all in big trouble. So that's why he is Green Goblin.
Talk about spoilers. I mean, that movie's way newer than Game of Thrones.
Point Meryl. Meryl was more concise with his explanation.
Fine.
Okay.
I don't have to like the unstated.
Not going to happen. Chiefs have won 6 games in a row, by the way. They went 0-2 and have won 6 straight after week 1. Have not lost since week 1.
They turned on everyone. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Noticed that when I was sitting on the toilet today.
Wordling.
That was wordling. Yep. Assassins are next.
Europe.
Nope, Europe.
Oh, okay. The Assassins. This is a team that I feel thought had their act together and was ready to make some big plays and come in and really scare us all and be a champion. But then was almost immediately dispatched and has been confined now to almost a punchline, which is why they are Vicini from The Princess Bride.
Mm-hmm.
They thought they knew what was going on. We pretend to switch the glasses, but they never stood a chance from the beginning, and so this is the perfect character to encapsulate both his season and his hopes. I will now concisely end.
Okay. Oh, now he's going for the judges.
Well, I didn't know the rules.
Yeah, there are no rules. That's the rule. Didn't you know he's Renly? There's no rules. Edmure Tully is who I said. Edmure Tully is from a somewhat substantial house in Game of Thrones, but and has a somewhat substantial claim to that house, but at the same time is kind of like somebody who nobody really trusts or wants to take over that house, and whenever a big moment comes around, always seems to just kind of not seize it and just kind of fall flat. Whether it was, at the funeral procession when they were sending his father off into the river, he had to shoot an arrow and hit him and start the fire, the ceremonial fire on there, or whether it was going behind his commander's back in a battle and trying to take advantage of something and ended up screwing the army instead. Edmure is he's kind of a bonehead, right? And not that Watson's a bonehead, I guess.
Oh,
but his team does bonehead things, and it's just never worked out for him. And I feel like every year we're like, yeah, watch out for the Assassins. They might be pretty good, a little surprising, and then it just when the rubber hits the road, just never happens.
Can I make a suggestion for one?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a little newer reference for you guys, but I say that he's Leapfrog from She-Hulk.
Love it.
And if you've seen that episode of She-Hulk, then you can agree or disagree, and I'll just leave it at that.
There you go.
Excellent suggestion, but critically,
are we keeping score on who's winning this?
Meryl wins that round too.
What? For his Game of Thrones podcast, where he talked nothing about Tully.
I didn't really think Vicini was formidable at all at any point. Like, he was always just sort of.
But he thought he was, and he had the big scheme, and then
Who'd you give not gonna have in Chiefs to?
You, because you were more concise.
Yeah, so I'm up 3-1.
Then I was very concise, and you went on a 10-minute Thrones rant. Now we're on.
Wounded Ducks are next.
Double point rounds. Splash. This is the bonus
lightning round.
This is lightning round. This is a lightning round. This is the golden ball. If you can hit this one, you get 5 points.
All right, go for it.
Wounded Ducks are next. This one was a little tough for me, and I'm not feeling great about who I'm battling on this one. But I went with Jaina Slint, who in Game of Thrones was a a highborn city watchman who got banished to the wall because he was too political, had too many hands in pockets everywhere else, and was could not be trusted. So he went to the wall, ended up getting beheaded because he thought his shit didn't stink, basically. But also thought he thought he did everything right. He thought he had this kind of thought he had a way to win, thought he had a way to succeed, and thought he was fine. And when push comes to shove, he got down to it, and anytime it just didn't work, and he ends up getting his head cut off pretty early on. Never really worked out for him, and so that's why I compare the Ducks to Janos Slint, because at the same time they are a team that I feel like they set themselves up well. They draft well. They make some good offseason moves, and then something happens, and they're just like, but I have friends at court. But I have friends here. Why is this happening to me? And I feel like that's the Wounded Ducks.
Well, everyone looks up who Janos Slint was from those books. I will tell you that the true fictional parallel to the Wounded Ducks is the Foot Clan from the Ninja Turtles, because it was an ill-conceived plan, like having teenagers that you barely teach karate and then pay on arcade machines all day. They're not going to take over the city. Nor was this team ever going to take over the city. You wonder sometimes, have they ever won? Did we ever see an episode where
were their parents? How many teenagers are out there without parents?
How does this even work in the first place? Why did they expect us to win? Have we ever seen it work? And yet they're there all the time. They keep coming in and they keep making a lot of threatening noises. But it's really just a setup, and their victories tend to be more for plot purposes than they are for any actual sense of competence or fear out of what will become of their large horde, But honestly, when they win, you go, oh, that's fun. That's an interesting twist. I'm not, should I worry? And that's why this team is the Foot Clan from the Ninja Turtles.
All right, well, point Merrill, because Hiller doesn't know his audience, and he says that the Foot Clan's victories are insignificant. That means that I'm insignificant, so point Merrill. Because I lost him, Hiller, so I lost him this week.
No, but it was for plot purposes.
4-1, suck it, Hillers.
It was for plot purposes.
That was 9-1. That's 9-1. That was worth 5 points.
That was double points. Yeah.
That was 5 points.
Crushed.
What's the court of appeal here? Because that was bullshit. Mine was the clear victor there.
Nick, the other one, going back a little bit.
You salty bastard. No, and what's a Janos Slint? Everyone knows the Foot Clan. It's the perfect parallel.
I was the underdog, and I won, just like you against me this week.
History will vindicate me in this.
Nick, the other one I had for you was, and Hiller's Foot Clan explanation reminded me of it, but I had you, before I went with the Game of Thrones scene, I had you as General Zod from the Man of Steel movie. Because he's got this great plan, and his plan is to terraform Earth so he can live on it, even though he's currently living on it. And it's
seems like it's going fine.
It's like, why are we doing all this mess? Like, can't you just live here?
I mean, if a planet turned me into a Superman, I'd probably want to leave it.
Why are we terraforming a planet that's already terraformed?
Know that he could live on that, probably that plan. All right, forget it. This is not a Superman podcast.
Superman lived on it. Why couldn't Zod live on it?
Sucking up to the judge. Who's the next?
After the Ducks is the Dad Dicks, and I think I am first on the Dad Dicks, right? Oh no, you're first.
No, you just had that long-winded explanation of a character no one's heard of. So I'll do for Dad Dicks. We will be honest.
Most of these people that Merrill's mentioning.
But okay, so the Dad Dicks, I have as Gollum from the Lord of the Rings, because this team, there's no reason that they should be successful or even alive. Really, there's no reason that they should have any relevance whatsoever, yet somehow they remain sort of a constant subplot that we can't quite get away from. And sometimes it seems like, hey, it's time to play the Dad Dicks. It'll be your friend. They can't possibly beat you. Look at their all play. But then what do? They come and bite your finger off and try to take your precious playoff spot for themselves. They think it belongs to them because it did a very long time ago. Obviously, it doesn't now. There's no reason they should have had it in the first place. But here we are, and now they're just hanging around, and we can't quite rule them out, and we can't quite kill them. And so to me, yeah, like as he slaps a fish at night over the pool and lords over whatever small bits of happiness he can call out of the season, I feel like he is the perfect parallel for Gollum.
All right.
That very generic explanation could have been applied to anybody, by the way. It's a team we don't really know what to do with, but sometimes they win every now and then.
No,
Anyway,
I had several details in there about the old power and the bi-personality nature of the team.
Here's who the dad dicks are. Here's why the dad dicks are like
in the first place.
Here's why the dad dicks are like Marjorie Tyrell in Game of Thrones. Marjorie Tyrell was born to the most wealthy house in Westeros. Because of that, she was wed to not one king, but two, just like the dad dicks, who had 2 championships. Just because they were born on third base. And so there you go.
And they hit a triple.
She thought they had a triple. And there she is, oh, look, I'm just marrying another king. I must be great at this. I'm great at marrying kings or something. I don't know what you got to be good at in that, but anyway, just somebody waking up super lucky, super fortunate, found themselves there, and then we realized, like, is this person really like the person we want to be queen? I don't know. Is this person actually a queen? And when you go back and look, you're like, maybe this person doesn't really have the pedigree to be 2 times a queen or 2 times a champion. So that's why I would say the dad dicks are Marjorie Tyrell.
When you say 2 times, because you're discounting one of them?
Nick, that's the bit.
Oh, sorry.
Wow. Man, obviously that was not a super successful analysis there. And
the dad dicks got it. I'll tell you that. Tell you what, Grimes is screaming at his screen right now.
You know what? Meryl, Hiller's point, he thinks something belongs to him because he owned it a long time ago and he thinks it's his now. That wins.
Even though I bring in the fact that he gets mad because I say he's a 2-time champion all the time.
That's hilarious.
Look, hilarious. Not every unjust decision can go your way, all right? It's a time of chaos.
Fair enough.
All right. Next up is
CTR.
CTR, Cyborg Tony.
CTR I have is Cersei Lannister. Oh. Cersei Lannister is the big bad other than the Night King. She just came in, always wins. Everybody hated her. Everybody just mad all the time that she just wins at everything. She's evil. She's conniving. She's ruthless. Everything she does seems to work out for the most part, and nobody really doesn't seem like anyone's out there to stop her or respects what she can do or directly comes at her. Like it's weird. Like, and so because she is who she is, I guess. And I think CTR is kind of the same way. He was new to the league. People thought, oh, he's a new guy. He's not going to do that much, whatever. Boom. Guy's made the playoffs every year. He's won the division every year. Just been an incredible owner. And we all hate him, just like everyone hates Cersei Lannister. Not on a personal level, Roscoe, for the most part. I mean, at least I don't.
How incestuous are you suggesting that he is personally?
Well, look, we can't say for sure. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into any of that nonsense. We're just talking on a level of winning and losing here.
I mean, I would have said 0. It's the primary character.
If our league has a villain right now that we want to be toppled, it is CTR, and that is why I say CTR is Cersei Lannister.
All right. Well, I didn't give quite that much respect/disrespect on it. I do not think that CTR is either the primary antagonist or sleeping with his/her brother. And so that's why the perfect parallel for this is actually Immortan Joe off of Mad Max Fury Road, because he had been sitting on a pile of his previously gotten wealth and seemed unchallenged completely as a dictator of the wasteland that is this league, right? Sitting there with his many wives and all his guzzling. And then it's gone, and everyone has left across the desert, and Immortan Joe is left to just gather the hordes and try to chase the rest of the people in hopes of a wild card spot that, from the start, might be a bit of a show, probably pretty fun, but he's probably not going to get it, at least not this time. And that all the glory of the Wasteland Apocalypse will soon be with someone else, even though you're not sure which of 2 or 3 possible other protagonists that might be. So, all respect to the crazy, champion of old that made no sense and struck fear into the heart of the Wasteland, but not this year. So, Immortan Joe for CTR.
So just to be clear, you think more people know who Immortan Joe is than Janice Slint or
Yes.
Edgar Tully?
Yeah, no one knows who Janice Slint is. Did you see Mad Max Fury Road?
No one knows who Immortan Joe is. I had to look that up too. I'm sorry.
It's a principal antagonist.
Nobody knows that person's name.
And may God have mercy on your
You know
soul.
who's not a principal protagonist? Janos Slint.
I never said they were. You said the other guy was a principal protagonist. I never claimed that. That's a weird argument to make.
I award 0 points this round, and may God have mercy on your souls.
I think I'm up to like 13-2 now. This is a beating. It's savage. Call off the fight.
This is a travesty. I'm appealing.
Well, you can appeal with your TDJ character that you have. Who do you got?
Okay. I will appeal with TDJ, who is the Predator, parentheses, average all of the Predator franchises. and in that, I'm including the video games. Because sometimes quite scary. Sometimes you're living in dread. Some seasons. Sometimes when the Chiefs have a weak opponent that week, you're thinking, how do I cover myself in mud and become unobtrusive to the Predator? Other times, such as in many of their video games and some of their movie franchises, thinking Aliens vs. Predator, an embarrassing failure. And you wonder, why were we ever scared of this? This doesn't seem to be working. I mean, we sure do reference it a lot, but was this ever something we were really all that worried about? And that remains to this season. And, every once in a while they'll come out, they'll hit a prey, and you go, oh, that's right, that's why we were scared of it, we should better worry. And then, some knockoff B-tier company will get the rights for a week, and then you'd be like, oh,
right.
Actually hot garbage and never good, and doesn't really have the gadgets that are very good at all. And that'll keep changing until we find out one way or the other. That's why this one is the
interesting. Okay. Meryl, rebuttal?
He's the Targaryens.
Targaryens.
Yeah, the Targaryens. Loyal to a fault. The Targaryens in Game of Thrones were loyal to each other so much to a fact that their family tree did not fork, by the way. just like Touchdown Jesus is so loyal to the Chiefs that his fantasy roster does not fork. He not only has current Chiefs, he has former Chiefs, all the former Chiefs. He loves them so much. But also, he's a multiple-time champion, as were the Targaryens. They've clearly have had power in the past. They clearly are a power you need to worry about. That they can fucking tame dragons, for crying out loud. They ride dragons around the land and burn things to a pulp, so you got to watch out for them. Because every now and then, one of them's going to wake up and just tear the shit out of you with a dragon. So you got to watch out for that. But on the other side of things, what they said in Game of Thrones about the Targaryens is every time a Targaryen is born, the gods flip a coin. Because they could either be crazy and nuts and, be terrible, like, I don't know, half of Pritchard's teams, or they could be kings and amazing, like the 2 championships that Pritchard's had. So that's why I'm going to say he is like a Targaryen, a generic Targaryen. Just like Hiller said, a generic predator of,
yeah, a predator, but it has to be a mix of all of them lumped together. You've got Targaryens, but it has to be a mix of them all.
Right,
together.
Pretty much, yeah. Targaryens versus Predator, who would?
Now that's a movie I would watch.
Dragon versus Predator? That would be awesome. I don't know. I really like the point, Hillers, where you said that sometimes you get Alien vs. Predator and sometimes you get Prey. You don't really know. That's a really good point. But Meryl bringing in the gods toss a coin. I don't know. That's a pretty good analysis too, because does seem very boomer busty with this team over the years.
Boomer Busty is a good name for a strip club.
It really is. Bummer
Would it be one word boomer?
That would be a good name for an ill-performing strip club.
Every stripper has to be 50 plus.
Not a fantasy podcast for you, Meryl. This is very serious work. We must know which characters are which teams.
Point Hillers.
Yeah.
All right, 14-3.
I mean, that's not the score, but that's fine.
Sure it is. Prove me wrong.
I can't. Oh wait, I do have a question though. I know Nick said which character one of us was, but not the other. Which one was it? Because we got to do the other one.
We haven't gotten there yet.
We do. We haven't got there yet.
Oh,
We
okay.
haven't gotten there yet.
Okay. All right.
Next is Wing
Tell you
Ye.
what Hiller's not.
And I get to go first. For the Wing Ye, I have Stannis Baratheon. So Game of Thrones starts with Robert Baratheon being king. He dies, and there's a clamor for the throne, and by all rights and by all accounts, the next person to take the throne, because his son is not, well, first of all, his son is not actually his son. There's a whole bunch of crap with that because of incest, bastards, whatever. And so the rightful heir to the throne is Stannis Baratheon. Just like it felt like for years after Andy's drafts and the Wing Ye's drafts, we would say, wow, this team is really good. They are going to make a run. This team, by all accounts, and everybody in the league says this team should really be great. Stannis Baratheon gets demolished and killed within like 2 seasons. It's over. It's done. He just gets overrun because, for whatever reason, he just can't get any traction. And no matter how loyal or how much he follows the rules or how many right things he does, that's just kind of how it works. And that's kind of been Andy's history in this league. No matter how many good picks he makes, no matter how many good trades he makes, no matter how many good pickups he makes, it just never works out for him, despite how all of us pretty much love all the moves he makes. And that's why I'm going to say Andy is the tragic Stannis Baratheon character of our league.
Very well. That's fine. It's good if that's the subject matter you have to work with. But I think when we truly look at it, what we're seeing here is actually the Wicked Witch of the West off of Wizard of Oz, because there is an assumption that that this is going to be an insurmountable, terrible empire, despite the fact that one hasn't ever really been established. There is this something to be like, oh, we're all in big trouble this time. They're coming to get us. They're going to set our scarecrows on fire. But they don't. They do send a couple of very scary flying monkeys at you. A couple of really challenging circumstances that you have to get past. No one's real thrilled that Saquon Barkley and Nick Chubb are on this team. But once you finally get there and you have to play them, it's pretty easy, actually. You just huck whatever liquid is hanging around, and we're done. It's anticlimactic. It's not nearly what you expected, despite the fact that prior to you playing them, they seemed like they were going to be big problems. So, to me, easy comparison, Wicked Witch of the West.
Or Meryl was better. Meryl's made more sense. I hear where you're going with that, Hillers, but I feel like you have like so many options to choose from that Wicked Witch of the West just seems like a really.
I will say that Andy is one of the last ones that I managed to assign. Okay,
that's fair.
It's like
it feels like, oh, I want to use a Wizard of Oz reference. I'm going to make him the Wicked Witch of the West. Like,
I mean, something that was supposed to be scary, but that was easily defeated was the only thing. Yeah, was the only thing that
28-3. I can't possibly lose.
Jesus Christ! This is
all right.
Hillers, you're up first.
This one's worth 30 points.
You're up first on
all other rounds.
Oh no! Can I change my character?
Nope. I see it in the notes.
Slot tadpoles. Hillers, you're up first.
Okay, Slot Tadpoles is the Tyler Durden of this league. You're not even really sure that they're an antagonist. They actually seem kind of cool. And, they've got, initially, a lot of good points. And it seems like, hey, they've really got something going on here. But the entire time, they were just punching themselves in the face with with these choices here. And there's almost so many. It's so hard to know what's going on with all the roster choices that even though you're kind of in their corner, you're kind of pulling for them, They've got a lot of charisma. They got a lot of moxie. They're just not ready for prime time. But in the end, they might explode a few buildings that are the playoff hopes of some other teams that are on the wild card bubble, and that's why I feel like they're an excellent parallel for Tyler Durden.
All right. Mel?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree with the characterization of what Hiller said.
Yeah, I saw you typing
Slot.
that in as I talked, by the way.
Yeah,
I saw you doing
exactly.
That,
Which is kind of what I was going for. So I would say the Slot Tapples are Tommen Baratheon, also known as Tommen Lannister. The Lannisters, by all accounts, evil, terrible, awful people in Game of Thrones. But because his older brother was awful and got choked and died and poisoned his wedding, Tommen became king at an age of 12. Seemed like a good kid. Seemed like we weren't sure he was an antagonist. Seemed like he might be good. He married Marjorie Tyrell above, so grats Grimes on your marriage to Omni Prime on that one. We're proud of you guys.
A little convoluted.
Yeah, so we're getting incestuous. I mean, it's Game of Thrones. Let's be honest. This is how this works. So, but Tommen Baratheon, we had high hopes. This person came in. We're like, wow, this person. Slod came in, good draft, good team, scoring high points, and all of a sudden you look up, he's 2-6, just like Tommen Baratheon. It's like, wow, this guy's great. All of a sudden he can't get his mom out of prison from the religious cult that's taking over the city, and then he's jumping out a window to kill himself after his mom blows up his wife. It's like, wow, that went bad so fast. What happened? And Tom and Baratheon, we hardly knew ye, and Slod Tadpoles this year, it's sitting at 2-6. We hardly knew ye as well. So that's why I'm going to make that my character for him.
I mean, you saved that pretty well. I'm very tempted to give you points. I'll give you 1 point for trying, and I'll give the other 29 to Hillers.
Damn it, I'm losing.
Victory!
It's not over yet. We got one more.
Do we?
We do.
Which one?
You.
Oh, I haven't prepared one for that.
You haven't, but you get to judge it.
Oh. I judge me as the victor.
It's got to be me. Too bad it's got to be me or Nick. So.
Okay. All right. Let's hear it.
How many points is it worth?
50.
50 points.
50 points. Okay, I'm going to do good.
You got to nail it. It has to be an unoverturnable victory.
Do you have one ready, Nick? You want me to go? What do you want to do?
I got one.
All right, why don't you go first?
All right. So mine's not so much a fictional character as much as it is a representation of all the characters. But Hiller's is the Chris Pratt of every movie just about every movie he's in. Because you look at it and it's just the same thing, a different movie in a different movie. It's just Hiller's being Hiller's all the time, no matter what year it is, no matter what's going on. It's just Chris Pratt being Chris Pratt, and it's just Chris Hiller's being Chris Hiller's.
Okay.
All right. All right. I thought Hiller's is Walder Frey. Now, Walder Frey in Game of Thrones is an very old man, but he controlled a very important bridge, and he used that bridge to... not only that, but he controlled a very important bridge, but also thought that made him a lot better and more powerful and better than he was. Let's call that bridge Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. And we'll say...
grievances.
And we'll say... And not only that, but Walder Frey also would constantly trade, make bargains, deals, and marry off his daughters just for chaos around the land and cause all kinds of nonsense. Felt he was constantly disrespected. Felt he was never truly appreciated for the great lord that he was in the land. And so he would constantly make deals with folks, just chaos everywhere. Not a guy you want to trust because you never know when he's going to turn around and just crush you. And Walder Frey, maybe the main antagonist in the biggest Game of Thrones episode of all time, The Red Wedding, when he famously crushed Robb Stark's rebellion. Robb Stark, the great hero that everyone loved. All of a sudden, Walder Frey turns around and just kills all of them. And ends that rebellion. He does that also by offering up one of his daughters as a trade option per se for something else. So I'm going to say Hillers is the Walder Frey of our league, in that he's always looking to make deals. He's always looking to cause chaos. He's always looking to do whatever. But it rarely works out, because the only thing that's really worked out for him in the past is his bridge / Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I'll tell you how I score this. One, I will score you poorly on Game of Thrones analysis, because Walder Frey just wanted to keep the bridge forever and never do anything else.
And did you not want to keep Aaron Rodgers forever?
Well, no.
No?
I've denounced him.
Where's your jersey? Show me your closet.
And actually, I will let you know that you named the perfect character actually earlier, and then chose not to do it in Littlefinger. Most famous quote: "Chaos is the ladder.
No.
Chaos is the ladder."
No, it's too big.
Which is, yeah.
I'm not giving you Littlefinger. I'm not doing that.
I also noticed that when you had yourself in as a character, you had Robb Stark, so I can't help reading into this a little bit.
What are you talking about?
A little bit in the show notes for a minute there.
Now you're just making stuff up.
Robb Stark.
Now you're just making stuff up.
And so I feel like this is a lot of hidden grievance. Nick, I can't give you a ton of credit, because I don't think you actually equated me to any fictional character.
Oh, well, I'm not going to
provided
Pillars, your fictional character is yourself.
Is yourself, and it's always there. And when you say it's always there, it doesn't say whether it's good or bad or what its strengths or weaknesses are. Just that it sure is there sometimes. So I'm finding this real difficult, but not because either one of you did a good job. You both did real bad.
No, you just don't like the job I did. Let's be clear on this.
Can I expand on that a little bit more then?
No, you had your time. There's no expanding. No.
I'll allow it.
No, there's no expanding. You can't allow it.
No, I'll allow one rebuttal. Go ahead.
Okay. Chris Pratt is always in these movies that are always preceded. There was big box office launches, big box office movies, right? Like they're big and flashy, and they always do well. But his role in them is just like it's the same role year in and year out. Like it's always the same person doing the same things. Like you don't really like the guy, like because there's nothing there to like, because it's just the same blandness that he does. I don't know where I was going with this. I give it to him.
You're really spoiling it here at the end.
Good thing you got some extra time there, Nick.
Cut the mic.
Insult the judge.
I had it going, and then I lost.
Pulling defeat from the jaws of victory, but it was close enough. Victory to Nick.
This is garbage. This is a fake election. We're doing recounts.
We're counting the ballots. There's bamboo in some of them.
We're gonna get to power rankings.
Let's do some power rankings.
Let's do some power. I hope you like that.
45 minutes later for a quick.
We only do that once a season though, and it's a crowd favorite.
All right. I'm gonna start this week. I don't think I've started yet, so I'm gonna start this week.
Go nuts.
At 12, I've got the Assassins. At 11, Wounded Ducks, and at 10, the Dad Dicks. At 9, Ween Ye. 8, the Slod Tadpoles. At 7, TDJ. Hillers, why don't you go next?
All right. At 12, I have the Assassins. At 11, first time out of the bottom, I think, Wounded Ducks. Nice job, Des. Way to beat Nick. Thanks a lot. At 10, I have Ween Ye. At 9, I have Dad Dicks. At 8, I have Slod. And at 7, TDJ.
Yeah, I think this is the first time none of us have had Wounded Ducks in the 12th spot.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't have him there either. I have him. So I have Slod.
That's why I'm in by none. Yeah.
Well, I hadn't gone yet, so spoiler alert. Slod. I have Slod at 12. Assassins, Wounded Ducks, because he beat me, so I have to at least give him some credit here. Dad Dicks. And to be honest, so that's where it drops. That's where the bottom tier is, right? I'm putting Ween Ye at 8, but I think that's like a huge jump for Andy. Like this 8, 7, 6, 5 spot is like really competitive spots, I think. And I think with the week that Andy's team started to put up last week showed that there might be life in this team, which is I know a little bit more that I want to go into for what we're talking about power rankings. But I just want to say that Ween Ye being at 8 is a big deal. I think that him shooting up the power ranks is a big deal. So it's Ween Ye, TD, and TDJ.
The weird thing is we all have the same bottom 5, right? Well, it's just in different orders. Like
and a 3-host consensus on TDJ. Yeah, just outside the playoffs, according to everyone.
That's 7.
Right now,
yeah,
but
that's
you're-
crazy. Yeah. But no, we've all got the same bottom 5. We just
Yeah.
kind of shuffle them up a bit. So yeah.
Let me ask you though, why slot at the very bottom with such a good all play? Like, what makes you think he's the worst team right now? Nick.
I know. I hear what you're saying.
Is it Greg Dortch?
Yes.
Okay.
The human Dorch.
I mean, I guess with that all play, I guess I really should have taken a little better look at it. There wasn't anything. I think that it's.
Oh,
I think it's
was
lack
kinda
of. I think it's
think-
lack
I
of
think
time
that
looking
all-
at looking at the analysis.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
anti-Grimes.
I mean, I think you're all. Don't even get fucking Grimes. How does he have one game worse than me, and he has almost the end like. His 20 games lost.
He's
less
Marjorie
than wins.
Tyrell. He's the queen of the 7 kingdoms. How dare you? How
With a
dare you talk about
500
him that way?
Record. Whatever. Okay. You know where we're gonna go with this. I just can't articulate it. Okay, that's fine. Let's go. Let's finish going.
Incoherent rage. Yes, we got it.
All right. At
You're
6. At 6, I've got Cyborg Tony Romo, which might be the lowest I've ever had Roscoe, honestly.
Ever,
Since he's
yeah.
joined. I mean, maybe like his first couple weeks, we didn't believe in him yet, but yeah, I got him at 6. 5, I've got Gazebo, continuing to prove me wrong week by week. You're welcome for the bulletin board material, Daria. Whatever I can do to help. 4, I got the Not Gonna Happen Chiefs. At 3, let's go podcast. I got Hillers, 2, Hitman, 1, Barely an Inconvenience. Let's go!
Top tray. Nice. All right. At 6, I also have Cyborg Tony Romo, and get
It's
some
another
wins.
consensus.
Yeah, get some wins, or you'll be switching up spots. At 5, I've got the Not Gonna Happen Chiefs. At 4, I have Barely an Inconvenience. You can't stay in the top 3 when you lose to the Ducks. At 3, I have myself. At 2, I have the Gazebo, and Hitman at number 1.
Okay. As Meryl alluded to, I do have CTR at the 6, but I think that this also does speak more to the rest of the strength of the top 5 than it does than it does 6. But I mean, that's where we are. In a bold move where I am going to rank Gazebo 5th with the week that I'm playing her. I'm sure that this won't come to bite me in the ass at all. But then right above that, I have Inconvenience. And then I have Not Gonna Happen Chiefs, Hillers, and Hit.
Nick, I've always found it's a good idea to underestimate Daria, honestly.
That's what I found too.
It's always worked out for me.
It seems to pan out swimmingly for everyone.
Yep. It's the Night King. I mean, what can he do? It's not even real. He's just up there, and it's this myth up there.
She's more like the Hell 9000, but close.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
anyway. All right. Well, thanks everyone for Hillers, for Nick, as Meryl signing off, and oh my God, we're still recording. That's great. So we'll talk to you guys later.
Hey.
Bye, guys.